Hey, what's going on YouTube? Drew from HPL Sports. Coming back with a video. I haven't made one in a while. This one's going to be another college football. I know it's just like the middle of the off season. Nothing's really going on in college football right now. Signing day's done. The draft's coming up. Bowl season's long gone, and the season or spring games don't even start for another month. But I'd like to give a way too early top 25 video for 2014. Not many people have done it, and it's cool to see how your predictions go this early before the next season. So I'm going to start off with my honor roll mentions. I guess the team's just outside the top 25. I'm going to do 3 of them. I'm going to start off with UNC, the North Carolina Tar Heels. They had a really disappointing 2013 season. Big bowl win against Cincinnati to finish it off, but 7-6 season overall. Not that tough a division either. They're playing in the ACC Coastal is wide open this year, with Duke winning it. But I think UNC could be once again this year same position they were last year. Kind of a sleeping giant, just waiting to take over the ACC. My next honorable mention is UCF. They had a really good season coming off the Fiesta Bowl win against Baylor, but they're losing a lot. Of course, Blake Bortles. They're also losing Storm Johnson, and honestly, what was not too impressive of a recruiting class this year. I know it doesn't really matter coming up on this season, but just a lot of holes to fill, and I don't see them finishing in the top 15 like they did this year. My last honorable mention is the Oklahoma State Cowboys, right here in Stillwater. They kind of finished off the season pretty bad against OU and Missouri. A rough Bedlam loss, then a very rough Cotton Bowl loss. They lose about as much as anyone in the Big 12. They lost Clint Shelf, a few starting wide receivers, Josh Stewart, and most notably cornerback Justin Gilbert. A lot of holes to fill, especially on defense. But if J.W. Walsh can get it together like he did his freshman year, or if Mason Rudolph, the new freshman, can have a good year, they could sneak up into the top 25 for sure. Start off the top 25, I've got BYU at 25. They come out of 2013 with an 8-4 record. They return Taysom Hill at quarterback, and very manageable schedule for 2014. Could easily see him come out of the top, or first 6 or 7 games, only losing once, and maybe sneak into the top 20. At 24, I've got kind of a surprise, the Virginia Tech Hokies. They finally had the Logan Thomas era over, kind of a couple years of disappointment with him, so they could move on. Michael Brewer from Texas Tech just transferred, and they've got Mark Leal, some experience there. They've got a ton of quarterbacks on scholarship, but a tough 2014 schedule. But if Virginia Tech can return to Virginia Tech football, good defense, good special teams, definitely could take advantage of a wide open ACC, I think. At 23, I've got the USC Trojans. They had kind of a rough 2013, but they did finish off the season very well. Aside from a loss to UCLA, they beat Fresno State in their bowl game, and also a huge win against Stanford in mid-November. So I think they got a very good outlook on 2014. Definitely could creep up into the top 10 even, back to what USC used to be. Finally got Lane Kiffin out of there, and I believe it could be a promising season for them in the Big 12 or Pac-12 South. At 22, I've got Clemson. They did lose some bigger pieces on offense, especially Taj Boyd, Sammy Watkins, but like I've said, the ACC is wide open this year. Clemson definitely one of the bigger names. Momentum coming off their big Orange Bowl win against Ohio State, and while they did drop a lot in a lot of people's rankings to start off 2014, they still could have a big impact in college football. At number 21, I've got the Texas Longhorns. Definitely a rough season for them for 2013. Those back-to-back losses against BYU and Ole Miss really hurt them. They never really recovered during the season, but with Charlie Strong coming in, they've got an entirely new outlook on the program. Don't really know who's going to start at quarterback or really anywhere else. Jonathan Gray should have another promising year running back. Definitely deep, stable on offense, and I think they could have a big year in the Big 12. At number 20, I've got Notre Dame. I never know how to feel about Notre Dame. They do return Everett Golson, so some more stability at quarterback, huge addition to the program, and they did finish off 2013 pretty well. And they do have a manageable 2014 schedule, so definitely look out for Notre Dame next year. At number 19, I've got Kansas State, a team that under Bill Snyder really can do anything. How he ran the offense this year or last year was very impressive. Daniel Sams and Jake Waters got just progressively better as the year went along, and one of the few teams I've ever seen that was able to successfully run a two-quarterback system. They got Tyler Lockett returning, big name at receiver, and I think they can definitely make something happen in 2014. Number 18, I've got Texas A&M. They do lose, of course, Manziel, Mike Evans, but honestly, I don't think they can get much worse on defense than they were in 2013. They can have another big year in the SEC. Sumlin had a great recruiting class and kind of proved me wrong of how good a coach he is. At number 17, I've got the South Carolina Gamecocks. They do lose some bigger names, Bruce Ellington, Connor Shaw, and of course Jadeveon Clowney, but Dylan Thompson is a good quarterback. I think he can have a very good year, and even though they do drop compared to where they were last year, I think they can have another big year. Number 16, I've got the Arizona State Sun Devils, one of the bigger teams definitely, or bigger surprises out of the Pac-12. They had a very good year. Decent recruiting class, not great, but they do return Taylor Kelly. They lose bigger names, Marion Grice at running back, but definitely can have a solid defense for 2014, and I think they can make some noise in the Pac-12. So at number 15, I've got the Nebraska Cornhuskers. I don't really know what to think about them for next year, but the one thing I do know for sure is Amir Abdullah could definitely be one of the best running backs in the nation. You don't really know who's going to be a quarterback. Taylor Martinez probably leaving. And Anthony Armstrong wasn't really that consistent last year. But never know how Bo Pelin's going to be either. But I think Nebraska has one of the biggest ceilings out of the Big Ten for sure. At number 14, I have a team that I could easily have ranked higher, the Georgia Bulldogs. They had a great recruiting class like normal. They returned Keith Marshall, Todd Gurley, and honestly, offense that was kind of ravaged by injury in 2013. Of course, they lose Aaron Murray, the guy that was really holding everything together in 2013. But and they also did lose Josh Harvey Clemens on defense, promising safety for sure. But I still think Georgia's going to be one of the best teams in the SEC this year. Number 13, I've got the UCLA Bruins. They do lose key linebacker and Anthony Barr, one of the best linebackers in the nation, but they do return who I believe could be the best quarterback in college football. He's got a huge ceiling, Brett Hundley. They also have Miles Jack back, just a bruiser running back, and they could definitely sneak their way into the college football playoff for sure. At number 12, I've got a team that some people might consider overrated, but I've got Wisconsin. If Joel Stave can find consistency in 2014, something he really never found in 2013, be backed up by a stellar defense, good running game as always, and they can be a championship contender in the Big Ten for sure. At number 11, I've got the LSU Tigers, who you never really can count out in the SEC. They do lose Mettenberger, Beckham, and Jarvis Landry, and Jeremy Hill, but they bring in one of the best running backs, if not the best running back maybe, and the best player to be recruiting college football this year, Leonard Fournette. Definitely could be a huge name, and could even go ahead and start for LSU this year. So I think LSU could be a contender in the SEC. At number 10, I've got the Missouri Tigers, who were probably the biggest surprise out of the SEC this year, if not one of the biggest surprises in college football aside from Auburn. They do lose a lot. Michael Sam, Coney Ely, James Franklin, Henry Josie, Damian Washington, the list goes on. But they do return Matty Mock, who could be a great quarterback for a couple years, and of course Dorial Green Beckham. Not a great recruiting class this year, but if they can continue the momentum from last year, great running game, then they will for sure have another great 2014. At number 9, I've got, for what was most of this season, most explosive offense, the Baylor Bears. Disappointment against Oklahoma State and UCF, but they return Bryce Petty. They do lose Lake Seastrunk, but they return Amari Goodley, Shock Linwood. Ton of good names. Good recruiting class this year also, one of the best they've had in a while. Top 25 for the first time in a while. And they do have great depth on offense. Maybe can build a better defense this year. And they're one of the favorites in the Big 12 for sure. At number 8, I've got the Oklahoma Sooners. One team that's carrying probably some of the most momentum out of 2013 with their huge win against Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. They return Trevor Knight. They do lose Kendall Thompson, but seeing how Trevor Knight performed in the Sugar Bowl, he's almost the for sure starter right now. Blake Bell's kind of out. Never really found consistency in last year, and they bring in a great recruiting class, and definitely could have a chance to contend in a pretty wide open Big 12. Number 7, I've got the Stanford Cardinal, who finished off the 2013 season running into a tough test in the Rose Bowl against Michigan State, losing a very close game, but they do have a kind of manageable schedule in 2014. Start off with UC Davis, of course, winnable FCS game. Also got Army. Tough games at Washington, at Notre Dame, at Arizona State, and at Oregon. But if they can come away with some big wins, they can definitely get into the college football playoff. At number 6, I have the Ohio State Buckeyes, who should contend along with Michigan State to win the Big Ten. And they do lose some bigger names like Bradley Roby and Carlos Hyde, but they do return Braxton Miller. And if they can win some of the bigger games this year, like against Wisconsin and Michigan State, I believe they'll be in the college football playoff and have a chance of winning the national championship. At number 5, I have one of the SEC favorites this year, the Auburn Tigers. If Nick Marshall can improve as a thrower, I think that Auburn might be one of the most dangerous teams in the nation and could find themselves in the national championship again. But if they kind of regress, don't get their running back game to what it was last year, then they could definitely be one of the fallers in the SEC. At number 4, I had the team that's kind of sported the best defense in the nation last year, the Michigan State Spartans. They do return Jeremy Langford and Connor Cook, an offense that I believe will be vastly improved, and a team that is one of the national championship favorites in my opinion for sure. At number 3, I have the Oregon Ducks, a team that just really couldn't keep it together in 2013. Just kind of lost against Arizona and Stanford. But I think if they can hold it together, or if Mariota can stay healthy, stay in the Heisman run like he's supposed to be, maybe even win it, then Oregon will definitely be in the college football playoff and will be a huge contender for the national championship. Number 2, I've got the Alabama Crimson Tide. Finished off 2013, one of the most disappointing fashions in college football. They do lose a little bit, C.J. Mosley, A.J. McCarron, but they do return some bigger names, especially running back Kenyon Drake, T.J. Yeldon, Derrick Henry. Definitely some guys that could break out in 2014, even though T.J. Yeldon kind of already did. But also they return Amari Cooper. And a quarterback, they could really go with either Alec Morris, Blake Sims, or the transfer Jacob Coker. But either way, I believe they'll be definitely a contender for the national championship and the favorite for the SEC. At number 1, I got the Florida State Seminoles, I think, who are definitely the national championship favorites to repeat in 2014 through the college football playoff, barring injury to Jameis Winston, since they did lose Jacob Coker to transfer. They do lose a lot. James Wilder, Kelvin Benjamin, Devontae Freeman, list goes on. But they definitely are the most talented team in college football. Could easily run the ACC again. And yeah, who I think will be the national champion in 2014.